Hello and welcome to another Spoilercast. I am your host as always, Tristan, and I of course am joined by Shay.
Hey guys.
And we're here to talk about Dragon Quest XI. A bit over the normal time we would do one of these. we're behind by quite a few months. I think both of us were just initially just enamored by the game back in September, and then fell off for whatever reason, which we get into. So basically, I'm going to again, this is a spoiler cast, so we're gonna
You've been warned, people.
you've been warned. But the thing is, we're gonna do a rough kind of overview of the game and our general thoughts, and then we're gonna get into the more spoilery stuff. And some snippets might come in here and there. So at the start, I just want to be a spoiler that they might come whenever. So there's your warning. You've had enough time to beat this game as well. Unless you're a Switch owner and you're still waiting, then just bookmark this podcast and come back to it, please. Okay, so let's start from the very beginning. I was pumped for this game because we had not gotten a new game since 9, which, gosh,
2010?
Something like that. It has been a while, and that was for the DS. So we haven't had a console Dragon Quest in a very long time. Of course, Dragon Quest X was an MMO, and it has not gone outside of Japan. It came out for the Wii. The Wii! Wii U. It's on everything. It's even on 3DS now. But we never got a version, which sucks. But, I guess it's an MMO, so whatever. But I'm still a little bummed. Basically, It has been a long time waiting for this, and I was so happy to jump into it again. It looked beautiful. There's a lot of great changes that came with the game, like little camps that you can go to and save at instead of having to go back to town. Just the whole open world nature, like everything is rendered within that big, like you go to big cities and everything is already loaded unless you have to go to a dungeon or something, some big area, like if you're going to the first what's the first kingdom called?
Heliodor?
Heliodor, yeah. You go into the city, and then you have to go into the castle. The castle obviously has to load. But when you go into the city, that whole city is like rendered. You open a door, and all the shops are, within that limit. I know it's not that crazy for a PS4 game, but for Dragon Quest, that's huge.
Insane.
It's insane. The weird thing, to me, they went a half step in the battles, which I think are is the best battle system to have been made up to date. Although I like 9 a lot because I just love classes. I love being able to grind through classes and all that stuff. But in terms of the overall abilities of everything, I love it. But the one thing that's crazy is they let you move around the battlefield. That does nothing. Like, a monster can't miss you if you're somehow behind it. They'll always hit you. It's just something for you to idly do when you're waiting when you're waiting for your turn to hit the commands, I guess.
Yeah.
It's very strange, and I don't know if they thought maybe to do an action combat thing, but probably not. They did plan to, I don't know if you know this, they did plan to do that with 9, and they scrapped that. But yeah, I think a action Dragon Quest would be cool, but we kind of already have that with the Dragon Quest Heroes games.
Right.
I think I would prefer it to stay traditional turn-based RPG.
I ended up turning the walk-around thing off, so everyone's just static in that line. I never move them anyway unless I was really bored, but I switched it so it went to traditional camera.
I did it a lot in the beginning, moving around, and then I just kind of stopped because I turned on the auto battle, or at least turned tactics on, like, you should focus on healing, you'll do this, which I think work really well. For the most part, no one does any boneheaded things.
No.
Like wasting things. But I guess at that point, well, why are you even playing the game if you're just automatically doing it yourself? It's I don't know. It makes things go a lot faster. I guess that's a debate for another day. Another thing that was so great was just all the monsters. Seeing them move in 3D was so cool. They have been in 3D technically, like the models, but just the animations and the way they look and just everything looked so stunning and new.
It
Uh,
looked
and
really polished. Like everyone that was part of the design team or part of the programming team, they really brought in their top game, I felt, because they really transferred Toriyama's art to 3D rendering really well.
Yes, thank you. You said that point a lot better than I was trying to mammer out here. So yeah, and basically the status of the game is very episodic, very anime-ish, where you go from region to region. There's an overarching plot, but every place has its own little insular kind of thing, and you solve it, and it's like a little episode arc of an anime, and it's really cool. I don't know which one was my favorite, but they are all very great. I like the arena one in whatever that place is called.
I liked the first time you go underwater, or right before that when you go into Dundrasil for the first time.
Oh, you know what? Gaiopolis. Is that what that's called?
Oh, the horse place.
Yes. I thought that was a really funny arc. The dumb prince,
Oh, yeah.
and then the introduction of Sylvando, I thought was great. I think overall, I think they handled Sylvando like really well. They could have just made him one of those typical super gay characters and just made him that super gay.
Yeah.
But he's a lot more than that. He is flamboyant, but he's also like not a caricature. They could have just
Right.
stopped at the gay part, but they made him like a really good soldier, and he has like a father thing, and yeah, it's all really good. I don't really dislike any of the characters.
No, they all had really. They could have been developed more, but the development we did get was pretty nice. Everybody had a moment.
Again, a lot of really cool small little details. Everything was so adventurous. It felt like you're on this huge epic quest, and Dundrasil was like a really good ending to where I started to fall off the game. I thought like up to that point you're going to a lot of every single place was new, everything felt really polished.
Right.
And then
it felt like you were being chased. There was a reason you were on the run the whole time, and then Dundrasil hits, and it's kind of like that for me. It just kind of pitters off.
Exactly, and then you got like new characters along the way as well. And then in Dundrasil, you get your last of your characters, technically, kind of, and we'll get to that. And then that's it. And then the next place you go to, I think, is like the beach, the
Right,
Honolulu.
Honolulu.
Honolulu, yeah, great pun there. Going to Honolulu and going back and forth between the mermaid and this fisherman just didn't feel like important. I know a lot, like I said, some of the smaller arcs had no importance to like the big plot, but they were good. And this one just felt like a side quest, and it really just bummed me out. And the Snow Kingdom is where I actually have stopped, and I was just like, and then I finally picked it up again because we're in 2019, and after Kingdom Hearts, there's been a drought, and I was like, I really need to finish this, and I powered through, and there's a lot of downs continued on from there, which we'll get to, and before we get to that, any, like, last thoughts on that kind of first part, essentially?
The up to Dundrasil, like, perfect. It was every part of Dragon Quest that I've ever loved about every previous installment that I've played.
And then after that, it had all the other stuff that also comes with every single Dragon Quest
that I
kind
don't
of
always
weighs them
love.
down.
But sometimes I appreciate them in hindsight.
Yes, it's definitely a journey when you finish. Like I said to you when I finished the game, I said I like it a lot, but it has a lot of problems, and I just feel like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders because that was 66 hours for me, and what, like 160
I had
160 for
more
you?
hours than you. Oh my god.
But you platinumed it, so I mean...
Yeah, I did platinum
whatever.
trophy,
But,
and this is my second, guys. This is the only game I've platinumed on where I didn't exploit a glitch in the game.
it's an accomplishment to get through that
Oh, yeah.
entire thing. It's like, what a great game, but I need to put you away for a while. Something you said reminded me of. It's very important we talk about this. Very weird. When this game launched in Japan on PS4, this game launched with no voice acting. That's why in all the cutscenes, it's not automated. You can't just watch a cutscene. You have to click through it. Even in action cutscenes, like when Erdrick, not Erdrick, when Hendrik is chasing you through that field very early in the game, and he's like chasing you, you have to like X through them. I'm like, this feels weird to have like a weird text box, and he could be like infinitely charging in like one place as this box is there. It's like, it's okay. So they added in the voices, but they didn't fix the whole transition thing. Anyway, the other thing that is weird to me is that the music is MIDI. The opening intro title screen, fabulous. It makes you say, welcome to frickin' Dragon Quest. Look at this bombastic music. And then you get into the game, it's like, we're all using the MIDIs again. I hope you like those classic tunes that have not been updated. We made an orchestral version of the entire thing, but we're not going to put it in the game because who wants that? Oh wait, we're going to do that for the Switch version. It's so weird.
You know what is weird about that whole orchestra thing? Isn't there a festival like almost every year in Japan where all they do is have the Tokyo Metropolitan Philharmonic play video game songs?
That's the reason why a lot of people think that they didn't include it, because they want you to pay for tickets to go see that in real life.
Come on!
Yeah. They don't want to say it out loud, of course, but I mean, come on.
Yeah,
what the hell?
Really. You have all those tracks recorded by competent and beautifully performed adults. Put them in the game.
There's a lot of weird things with the audio compartment of this game, but I think we should fast forward and get to like the really nitty gritty, juicy bits of the spoiler cast in the second half here. The best part to start would be the tree, the Yggdrasil. You get the stupid orbs. You finally do it. Then you're like, we're gonna get the sword,
rainbow,
and then
which if you watch that thing form, how do they walk up it?
You go up there, and plans are foiled. Everyone gets thrown across the world, and you freaking get turned into a fish. I'm like,
yeah,
wow, okay.
Oh my god, great freaking twist to after having your butt handed to you. And then
this is maybe 5 hours after I restarted the game, after the ice place, maybe something like that. And I was getting more momentum. I'm like, okay. Oh, I'm getting the final thing. All right, I'm going here. And then it slows down to a halt again, and it's so miserable. As this fish part, it just takes forever. You just suck so much. It takes so long to get back into human form for no reason. They could have really fast forwarded some of this stuff. And then you finally get back to land, and then you find out, oh, hell's broken loose. You need to get to the last bastion of humanity.
Oh, man, yeah.
And defend it from invading monsters, which is a really cool cutscene, but then you do it in real life, and it's just kind of a couple battles. And, okay, I guess you and Hendrik will now restore the kingdom and look for your friends or something like that. Which was like, whoa, Hendrik's a new character. That's cool. I did not expect that at all. Yeah, it's so slow, but once you get him and get to Angela, then it starts to pick up speed again, even though I was a little tired of, you're making me re-get everything, and you introduced Eric with amnesia, and it was like, okay, but again, it was getting better because you're getting your characters again, and because of the way it introduced new characters, or the order, I tried people out that I never tried before. Like, I never really used Rob before this. My main party was Eric, the twin sisters, and then, the hero. And this time around, I was like, oh, Rob was actually really good, especially because he has, like, the frickin' spirit bomb kind of Kamehameha thing, and that does really good damage. She has, like, a lot of good spells. And then you actually get everyone together, and you find out that Veronica
sacrificed herself.
So yeah, then you go to the floating castle and you do the floating thing, and you fight the final boss, and you beat the game. And I felt really accomplished because I over leveled in that place. I told you the same King Slime, Metal King Slime secret, so the both of us like leveled up, shot up so fast, like 20 levels in like less than like 8 hours, something like that. So that was great, and I felt really good. And then I knew there was post-game content, because there's always post-game content. But we just didn't know
how far the rabbit hole went.
Yes, it's not post-game content like extras.
It's the
you didn't finish the game. It is a false.
You still have to go through.
It's a false ending. pretty much. Before we get to that, do you have any thoughts that you want to interject with the fish thing and that whole
The
arc
whole
of the
fish
story?
thing, because you warned me beforehand, I laughed when I found out I was the fish. I was like, oh.
He looks so stupid. Why does he have his freaking
Oh my
satchel? He gets
God.
transformed into a fish, and he has a satchel. Like, what part of the magic
I was
world
like,
is that?
where are his weapons? But once you're past there and you get reintroduced to the characters and stuff, I initially did not like Sylvando. I thought he was going to be a cliche and a trope, but as he's unraveled in phase 2, he really is fleshed out, and I ended up liking him a lot. And in my final party,
It's funny you say that, because when he gets reintroduced, he is the most flamboyant he has ever been in the entire game. Thank you for bringing that up, because I totally forgot that he gives you a suit and the hero acts super crazy as well.
That
He gives you that
dancing
performance
thing.
thing and you have like a little parade. Oh my god, it was so funny.
but
It was just
like once you
ridiculous.
have to go back to Port of Valor and you have to introduce him, like you have to talk to his dad with him. I liked that part a lot. And then finding out that he had all that night training, and that he left to go on a journey to bring people smiles.
Do you have any more points? Any more points?
I liked when Serena got both magics, because if you remember,
It's either the typical anime thing of cutting her hair
Yeah.
to mean she's a different character, even though she still had the same dress, which was like, you gotta need to like cut the dress, do like a unit thing, and put on some short shorts or something. I don't know. It was just weird that she changed like one thing and then
I liked
kept
that
everything else the
because,
same.
like their ancestor,
Okay, I'll move this along. You defeat him, all that stuff, and then you come back, and then finally those little blue things that you've seen the entire the game opened up with a cutscene of that
Yeah.
thing walking around the town, and they
Nope.
don't explain it at all. But yeah, like, okay, in this last part of the game, we're finally gonna explain what the heck those things are. Kind of,
Not really.
not really, but we're gonna explain the dark one and what happened with the lantern of Luminos,
Erdwin's
whatever it's
lantern.
called. You get to this, you find these ruins from like one of the floating cities, and then you find this wheel of time, which I thought was like maybe a little bit too on the nose there, and then you go to one of the whale places.
the
I guess
whale
we never talked about
stations,
the whale,
yeah.
but whatever. But you start like a new quest kind of, and you lay you lay Veronica to rest, like, this is the final resting place kind of, and we're having a party, and goodbye, and we're gonna go on an adventure one more time. You go to this the Tower
the
of Time
Lost
or whatever
Lands.
it's called, and it's a dungeon kind of, but there's no monsters. There's a lot of platforms to go up for no reason. It just feels like filler just to get to the
Yeah.
top. And you get up there, and then the game just a giant middle finger to you. You go up there, and it's like a time orb thing. And so the blue thing that we don't know what it is right now, she basically tells you, if you want to reverse time, strike this orb, you'll go back in time to the point of
to the point where you thought
whatever,
you screwed things up.
which was when you get screwed over
Yep.
when you're getting the blade in Yggdrasil. So do that again. You can go back. All your items will go back. You'll be your level. Everyone will be the level that they were at that point in time. So it's like, you want me to reverse my progress?
Oh,
Everything I did up to that point was like, wow, this freaking sucks. And I was really debating, like, is this really testing me? Is this really worth it? Also, to go through this entire thing, and yeah, some parts of the world got screwed up, and that's sad, but it was very bold of them to do that. Like in Final Fantasy VI, they
yeah.
went for the world destruction thing, and I thought it was a better story because of it. Because you went through some rough things. The villain kind of won, but then you won, and there was a sacrifice and all that stuff, and it was sad, but again, it had meaning. And then it was like, yeah, all that stuff, that was just bullshit. You're gonna go back in time and fix everything, and it just felt middle finger for the leveling stuff, and just felt just empty to me. Like, I just really didn't look up a lot of things when playing this game, but this one I absolutely had to look up because I needed to know that I get my levels back. And you pretty much do after you fight the oh god, what's his name?
Oh,
Hendrick's
after
friend.
you fight his brother.
And then because you defeated him, the Mortigan can't, you know what's coming at you, so you can like block his attacks, and then he pretends that I'm still the king. Let's go back to my palace. And then in the middle of the night, he tries to take your sword, and then you're protected by the nobody.
Yeah,
of
that part was
Cosmos.
weird. Now that I think about
And
it,
you know what else is a glaring issue? You being a stupid hero that has no stupid voice and like acting nonchalant, like I've done this thing before. I know what's gonna happen. I'm not gonna tell anybody
Right.
about it because whatever. A lot of things could totally be solved right now if I said this is exactly what's happening. Mortigan is in the king's body. I came back in time. Maybe not saying the king back in time thing, but maybe say I had a vision.
I'm the
and I know all
luminary.
this stuff. You know
why
that.
did he
yeah,
just put
and then
his hand up?
You play
and
out
then,
so many things
you know,
again.
Use the luminary power
Yeah.
to burn Mortigan's darkness out of the king. I remember when I went back in time, I texted you and I was like, this is bullshit. I lost all those levels.
And you basically play 2, maybe 3 hours, and you get everything back. So you like 2 boss battles. If you leveled up like me and Shay did, which was like 80, a little over 80 at that point, you like, even though your other characters are at 30, you could smoke the 2 bosses no problem, as long as so I was like, okay, that's cool. And then you get all your powers back, and then the world's right again, and then you're like, oh no, the evil thing was Klasmos. This is the thing that Erdrick was fighting. Is it Erdrick or Erdwin?
Okay.
Why are there so many freaking things with Erd
Erdwin is
in the
your
name?
ancestor. Erdrick is a title.
Okay, that's the first character
Yep,
from the very first
his
Dragon
name
Quest,
was,
right?
Well, his title was
Okay.
Erdrick. His name could be whatever you wanted, and
Nonsense. Got it.
I'm too,
Explaining things that don't need to be explained. Not you explaining them, the game explaining things that nobody needs to really know. So yeah, everything's happy again, and all the things are fixed. The Sea Kingdom is not destroyed, and everything's great. But then you still have to do like a lot of like extra things to get to this final boss, and just like the part 2 already felt like
yeah.
a lot of retreading, and this is retreading again. I was like man,
at the end of part
what
2, I
we
felt like it was
doing?
kind of short, but I felt like it also was a full RPG because at that point I think I was at 90 hours.
That's a meaty RPG.
But then no, Dragon Quest had to go, hey, remember those other games where you had to play way more? Buckle up, Buttercup.
I trudged through all this new stuff, taking forever. Not many battles, just a lot of like cutscenes and dialogue, and like we could have just solved this and like maybe put everything together. You didn't have to like elongate this stuff. But you get to get the whale upgraded, so now he's a narwhal, because of course
Right.
that has to happen as well. And you pierce Kalasmos' like heavenly body, and you start the final fight. And I fought him. I didn't level up much more in this new part. And I didn't do like the extra dungeon that Eric very hinted at. Like, we should do this trial because we should
Trustain's
get
trial.
beefed up. Because I thought I got beefed up in Mortigan's dungeon, son. I am way over leveled. Everybody was, the lowest was Serenica at 83. I was 88, and everything was like maybe 85, 86. I thought it was really good. I just wanted to see it. I wanted to see if I could do it. And I got trounced within like less than 5 minutes. I got like smoked. My entire party. I'm saying all 8 characters because I did the whole lineup thing and trading people out. And I was like, I can't believe this. I put in 66 hours of this game. I just felt defeated, and I told you that, and you're like, wow, I don't know if I'm ready, because you were even over leveled than I was, and I told you that, and you got nervous. And then you somehow stumbled upon something that lets you know that in this final battle you have to use the Sword of Light.
The Super Sword of Light is
what the hell's
the
it
original
called?
Sword of Light, not the one that you make with your friends, but the one you inherited.
You just use it as an item, and it cuts through the blackness, and then Kalasmos turns into Cell.
Yeah, with a
a
baby face.
in the body, the baby face, and then he
Super
becomes
easy.
super easy. I lost in 5 minutes, and this time I won in 5 minutes. It was like, oh, so yeah, the final boss battle, thanks to you, we were able to solve the problem, and there was only the one form, and it just felt kind of maybe a little bit of a lackluster, since they kind of force you into this new game to get the actual ending. But I was also thankful that was it, and I was able to finish
right after
this game.
After the Battle of Mordion, like it's nice that they actually threw you a bone, because all those fights leading up to that, like I remember texting you and saying like they felt like they were getting progressively harder, and I was almost max level well before getting to the final boss, and I felt like it was a little overkill almost.
Yeah, for sure. So defeat him, and then I guess they decide to go back to the Tower of Time, right? That's the next thing that happens.
Yeah,
So they go back to the Tower of Time, and they figure out that, oh, it's Serenica, that's who you are, and so they bring her back somehow.
yeah, 'cause-
Not really explained. Not really explained how she becomes a long beam of light person,
yeah,
and how
it's
the
like,
other beam people can bring her back.
it's like she failed to go back in time by herself, so they punished her by making her a time watcher.
Yeah, Time Guardian, except for she's like the only one that has ever become
Ever
like a
talked to
giant
you?
version. So she comes back, she's like, "Where am I?" And then she's like, "Oh, maybe if I use that sort of light that you have there, I can go back in time."
And it's like
And no,
it's like getting into a club, because you just like pressed your hand against hers, and then she had the luminary mark.
yeah, I didn't really get that. I maybe assumed that everybody was a luminary back then, but I don't think that's the case.
I
If you could just pass the luminary thing down, why didn't he just bless his party with that?
right?
But that's not the problem here, Shay. The problem
I know.
is what happens afterwards.
Right.
She gets the luminary symbol. She takes the sword and is like, "Peace out, guys. I'm gonna change the timeline again." And at that moment, I'm like, "Wait a minute. Okay, hold on. Someone should have really stopped her and be like, okay, we get that your hero went back. I don't know how much in the real time world, a couple days maybe of worth of time." And reverse some bad stuff that happens.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we can swallow that, even though I was a little weird about it. But for her to go back, I don't know, hundreds of years?
At least 100 years.
Something like... I don't know if they ever said it in the game, but let's say
No.
at least 100 years. That's going to change what
lot.
happened? Yeah, so I was like, okay, so now they're really just messing with us. But the thing is, she breaks the sphere, just like you did in this second part, and she disappears, but everyone else is still standing there.
Right. It's like when the main character leaves to do the time, to go back in time the first time, you leave your old party in that time. So
I guess we're led to believe that
It's-
maybe they're like making different timelines, I guess, by
Yeah, it's
smashing
like-
these orbs.
this would be the third timeline within the game. There's
Yeah.
your original timeline, then there's the one where you went back, and now there's the one where Serenica goes back.
You know, I wonder if the Lost Land, that's the name of it, right?
Yep.
I wonder if the Lost Land was just Xenogeared and the budget was the budget was cut. It was supposed to be like this huge thing. I mean, it's a giant dungeon that you
Right.
go through with no puzzles
Oh,
or no
man.
kind of bosses or even enemies in there. You just have to watch a lot of load things of you going up these spiral floating
Right.
things to get
Yeah.
to the top. I feel like if there's like a thing, like a guardian up there
Mm-hmm.
for frickin' time itself, there should be more of a resistance to
It
prove yourself.
Would have been interesting, like those other spheres that were floating around you like a clock. Those ones protected, or those were isolated time streams that could not be corrupted by shattering the one sphere.
What she said, like, you can put your items and stuff in here,
Yeah. Well, what
but
if
you can't put your people in there? I don't understand why
Yeah.
everybody just couldn't go back in time.
Yeah, they could have explained some things. They could have made things a little easier instead of just throwing their hands in the air and going, "Hey guys,
Time travel!
time travel."
But she goes back in time to just like it seems like a heaven place because it's a very light color for like the environment, and then she's looking for Erdwin, and
They
then she
have
finds
that
him.
They have that split screen, and as soon as
Yeah, the screen's kept getting bigger. I wasn't sure like what the artistic point of that was.
as soon as I saw the birds, I was like, if they appear in her screen, she's just a dummy and doesn't see that he's right ahead of her.
Yeah, and where is he anyway? Is he like in like a limbo place? Did she go back in time to limbo? Like that doesn't make sense. She went back in time to die. There's so many things that just don't make sense.
I want
I-
to say Ideally, she went back right before his possessed friend stabs him in the back when they were sealing what's his nuts in Erdwin's lantern.
Well, then where's everybody else? The other party, why is he by himself?
Why was he by himself?
I don't get what was happening.
I want to know what happened with the circumstances that revolved around why Erdwin was by himself making that freaking spell to get stabbed in the back.
It was a very simple story until the very end, when just a lot of nonsensical stuff happened. Like someone from the Kingdom Hearts team was like, I need to
Right.
spruce this baby up.
They were walking by the team meeting and they're like, hey guys, we have some ideas. We got some notes. We were listening to you.
This game makes too much sense. So this is Square Enix. I don't know if you know this, but we as a company, we don't put out things that make sense.
We
Yeah.
like ambiguity, and we like to leave our players confused.
Right. Speaking of confusion, let's move past this point.
Right.
Because we're never going to be able to explain it. And then there's just that small little brief thing where you go back home. Veronica and Serena.
They come and pick you up.
They come and pick you up, and then you put the sword away. And
it's the right thing to do.
And then the tree talks to you as a dragon.
Oh yeah.
And the dragon fought Colosmos and was like, I failed, so I got turned into a tree. Which, whatever, that seems like a magical thing that happens. I have no qualms with that. And
Dragons
then
can do whatever the hell they want.
She makes him the title of Erdrick.
Mm-hmm.
And that leads us into the credits, which shows us all the games 1 through 10. It was like a nice little cute thing, but from the way that she worded it, I don't know if we're supposed to believe that Dragon Quest XI is now like the 0. This is the first game in the timeline. And then after the credits, there's that scene in the house where the mom goes over to the boy sleeping and calls him Kui, which you don't know what that name means, but you think what?
I believe that it is directly referencing the beginning of Dragon Quest III, which is the beginning of the Erdrick trilogy. Because it isn't revealed initially, but the order of the games go 3, 1, 2. It's just interesting that that's where they ended it, because at the beginning of 3, you play this kid who talks to this entity that lives beyond. It's just this shining light that talks to you, and you do this little personality quiz at the beginning of 3. You wake up, it's your 16th birthday, your mom tells you, and it's just like the beginning of 11, where your mom tells you that the king wants to see you, you have to go see him. Well, in 3, because it's your birthday, and because your dad is very famous for defeating demons or monsters, whatever, you go and see the king. Well, the king tells you that he sent your dad on a special errand, and your dad never came back. So, because you're the child of a hero, he's giving you the honor of going to find your father and defeat the thing that your dad was supposed to beat. And that's kind of where 3 begins.
So now the game series is 11-3-1-2.
Right.
What if they remade 3 using the 11 engine?
Oh, man.
Because you told me that 3 is like the most popular one over there, or at least one of the most popular
3 is
ones.
one of the most popular ones.
If they were going to remake 3, what do you think is going to come out first? Dragon Quest Remake 3 or Final Fantasy 7 Remake?
Oh, man. I think Dragon Quest 3 would be a lot easier to do, to be honest.
They have the engine. All they need to do is just reset the assets and stuff. Yeah, so I guess that's about everything. In the beginning of the game, we kind of already gave our impressions. Mm-hmm. Even though I had some pacing issues and some weird lore things at the end. And the kind of the actual time going back. Not that it didn't make sense for the first time you did it, but just the fact that they did it just kind of made me feel empty at first. But I guess I'm okay with it since everything got rewritten. But, overall, good. I want to say that it's probably in my top 3. I would say 9, 8, and 11 now. What about you?
I would put 11 in my top 3. I still think my order is 5, 7. I do really still like 9. I want to say 9 and 11 are probably tied. but I love 5.
So yeah, do you have any revelations that you want to tell us? Did we miss something while we were talking? Let us know. But I think that's going to do it for this super long discussion and super long overdue spoiler cast of Dragon Quest XI.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you for joining me, Shay,
You're welcome.
and thank you all for listening. If you like this video and want to see more from me, then subscribe to my channel, and also check out my articles over at The Gamer. All these links and more are in the description notes below. Thanks for watching!